And the best part is that after they were married, we got together. We've never met in person, which just
No,
is terrible.
very sad. It's very sad.
But um, we got together after the wedding and talked. And Nathan said, "Shari, there's something I never told you." I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, because I had this. Here's the deal. I have to tell it from my side because
Yeah.
I had this. I was. I know exactly where I was in my living room up there. I was vacuuming, and suddenly this word came in my mind. Have you just have when are what is what it said. When are you going to tell Shelley what you've noticed about Nathan? Because what I noticed was Nathan Woods kept putting a heart under all her poetry. And it was sap, like not bad poetry, but it was like sap, and Nathan's not sappy, okay?
That's true.
And I'm like, why is he putting hearts under Shelley's poetry? Every single time. And so so anyways, I said, never. That's when that's going to happen. It's never going to happen. I'm never telling that I'm noticing that. And it was like, okay, I'll be back. Right. And so for a week, when are you going to tell Shelley what you've noticed about Nathan? And so I didn't tell her in the end. Okay. So a week later, I said to her, have you ever thought to talk to Nathan Woods? Like, that's what I said. But really, I was supposed to tell her that I noticed that Nathan was, hovering like a little bee around Shelley. And but then Nathan's side of the story was even more spectacular. Because the same day that I got that word, he went to a church. I don't know, it wasn't his church, right? It wasn't a local parish, but he went to a parish where there was an icon of Saint Xenia. And he prayed, and he asked her to help him find a wife.
Yeah.
And that was the same, like I got goosebumps again. So it was the exact same day that little voice said to me, when are you going to tell Shelley what you've noticed about Nathan? And I was like, never. I actually said the F word. I was like, F you. I'm not matchmaking these people. I don't know who they are, But, and when he told me that, I was just blown away. That was actually for me, that was a big moment, actually, Shelley. That was a really big moment. Yeah.
Turned out to be a big one for me as well.
Yeah, and for Nathan. And for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I left out that we're all Orthodox now.
Yeah.
I started saying, yeah, we're all Orthodox. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say hello to Jacob. You are in a room full of women.
So you know what it reminds me of? When during COVID, when there used to be the women's knitting circle.
Yes.
You remember that?
I remember that with Andrea with the bangs.
And Cassidy, who's also married and Orthodox now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And kids. She has one
on the way.
One on the way,
Well,
yeah.
Did she have her baby?
She had her baby.
Oh,
what did she have?
Two now. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and when I visited Shelley, number 2 was on the way, and now
that's right.
3 is
Yeah, still wasn't that long ago, but yeah, 3's here.
And I have to, not to toot my own horn, but I have to say that I had a little hand in the Cassidy and Fergie thing.
That's
too.
Right.
But I've hung up my hat, my matchmaking hat.
So I've been trying to catch up. I listened to your essay, and what it made me think of is Ian McGilchrist talks about how the most important role of the corpus callosum is to inhibit one of the other hemispheres from getting from going too far. Like,
Overpowering. Yeah.
yeah. And one thing that I have noticed really about wisdom is it's the capacity to know when. So the serenity prayer has become a huge thing in my life. Um, and just the wisdom to know when this is my place to just not do something,
Right.
to absent yourself. And in one of my classes, like, I I complain constantly about my classes being worthless, but you get these gems. And one of the gems I got, like, that's in one session of my one of my classes, one of my professors said, and it's become like the most valuable thing I got out of in my master's degree course, is silence is incredibly powerful,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So in it was a therapy skills thing,
Yeah.
and she was like, one of the most important things you can do is decide to be silent.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I didn't know what to think when I saw a slow goodbye. Like, slow goodbye. I've known you long enough, Sherry, that I know you do things with wisdom. So I knew that it wasn't gonna be like, of course, it wasn't gonna be rage quitting or whatever. But I
Yeah.
was wondering what exactly, like, Dawn. I don't know if you know Dawn, but
I do. Yeah. I mean, I've
so
never met Dawn, but I know her from the comments.
yeah. So Dawn posted it on my Discord. I'm like, what's going on here? And I was very tempted to immediately jump on, but I was like, no, Sherry had stuff to say, so I should go listen to those first. And it's funny, like, me and Hazi, very similarly, like, we have very different views. And one of the things I've been saying to Hazi is, Hazi, I want you to build up your channel,
Mm.
because yeah, my channel's my channel, but and it's really important that my channel have other people on it. If
Mhm.
other people weren't streaming to my channel, I don't think I could continue doing it.
Right.
At the same time, like, Chezi's Chezi,
Mhm.
and I'm different. And actually, so today, apparently, is the announcement about Southeastuary. Sorry, I saw the what you call it, Yosef. He's
Yeah.
busy, but yeah, like, so I I think it makes perfect sense for you, and if it's with Jeremy or if it's just the Sherry channel, right? To have your own separate thing,
Yeah.
and for the mood there to be set more by what you want to set the mood as.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for that, Jacob. I appreciate it.
And we need a female flotilla, like, ship that uh,
Female ship.
isn't.
All ships are female.
They are. Um, they are, but like Cassidy, babies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Andrea's gone on to other things,
Yeah.
but yeah, like,
Mhm.
so I look. I mean, I wouldn't call this a goodbye. It sounds like a birth to me.
Yeah, well, it is both those things, right? Christianity talks about that all the time, Jacob. Death is birth.
I had never heard that before, Shari. Never. Yeah. By
It's
the way,
just
hello, Mandy. I
a
don't believe
reminder.
we've ever spoken before. I'm
Hey,
good.
Jacob. I've seen you a lot, so I feel like I know you, but it's one of those creepy one-sided online things.
You
It's
know
like, oh,
what?
I've known you for years.
I sent the link to this stream to a number of people just so that they knew. I didn't want them to get bowled over and find it and go, what the? And I was like hovering over my DMs with Jacob, and I'm like, do you want to send this to him or not? No, I'm going to let him just find it because he's going to be mad.
Why would I be mad?
I thought you might be like, you can't go anywhere, you know.
You
And,
can go anywhere you want to.
Yeah.
I trust you.
Thank you. Yeah.
How are the puppies, by the way?
They're good. They're good. We almost lost Hulk,
Oh,
but he's on medication and he's doing really well. So he's still with us.
yeah. I'm taking a road trip with Happy to Jason's wedding. So I think I told you
I didn't know you still had Happy. I never see her anymore.
I still have Happy, but she's getting old, and
Yeah.
I waited way too long to put Duke down.
Yeah.
I don't believe in putting animals through the ravages of old age. It's not the same as a human being. It really isn't. And when for Duke, when we did the final weighing, he was down to 35 pounds, and he was usually 45 pounds. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, I just didn't see it. I really, I didn't want to see it. And
Right.
so OG Mike is here. Wow.
Yeah.
You bring all the OGs out.
We will meet. We will meet.
And Shari is not leaving. She's just saying goodbye for now. Ta-ta for now.
Yeah, you just have Aaron, do yourself a favor. I wrote a really great essay. It's at the very beginning of the stream. It'll
It's
explain
a video essay, so you
Yes,
don't
it is.
even have to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Happy. I'm going to see when we go out to Colorado. I'm going to see how she is, because I'm getting the same feeling of what I learned with Duke, which was he was okay only because we were at home all the time. And when we tried doing other things, he was not okay anymore.
Right.
Yeah. But she's getting old. She's getting very old.
Yeah. We'll
She's
see how
14.
we'll see how the road trip goes for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and Jeremy just lost his 17-year-old dog last night.
Aww.
Yeah. That is tough. It is really hard when a pet dies. And I think Jason Almond Tree, wherever he is here, he's in here. He also had a very, I remember him telling me about it, not recently, but lost a pet that was really difficult for him too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to his wedding, and I'm crashing the wedding with my sad dog stories.
That'll be a great wedding. Will that be your first Orthodox wedding?
No, I went to Cassidy's wedding.
Oh, you
Cassidy
did?
and Ferdy. I went to Cassidy and Ferdy's wedding. Yeah, and Michael's supposed to be getting married in the church, and he hasn't done that, and I'm gonna have to go to that one as well.
Where's he?
Do you know Michael? He does Grail Country stuff. Michael
Yes.
Misner? Yeah.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, so they haven't had a church wedding. They're married but not in the church yet. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
How are you doing with all the traveling? I mean, you're not going to North Estuary, are you?
I'm going to South Estuary, but I'm not going to Midwestuary.
Midwestuary. Okay, that's what they're calling it. Okay, yeah.
Because I'm doing a monastic retreat on my property.
Oh, wow.
And I'm really loving it. I set up, I bought myself a tent
Mm-hmm.
and I set it up by the lake. Jacob
Mhm.
knows because he came to my house.
I came to visit.
Yeah. And yeah, and I mean, anyone watching, as long as you're not a psychopath, you're welcome to visit me. And if you
Oh,
are a
you
psychopath and you
want
come anyway, my dogs will know and they will eat you.
you want to tell them about how the Canadian Border Patrol tried to protect you from me?
You tell.
So I am much more awake at nights than I am during the day. Anybody who watches my channel knows this. I was driving to Shari's, and I had the bright idea of. So I was in a rented car by myself, driving to Canada, and it was like 11 o'clock at night when I was crossing the border. And Google, for some reason, had decided that it would be quicker if I went to one of the small border places as opposed to the main one near Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll just cross the border and I'll find a place to sleep. So I do this thing of sleeping in the car every other night, right, when I do my road trips. So I get to the border at 11 o'clock at night, and I thought they would just let me through like they usually do. Nope. They start asking all types of questions. It's a rented car. You drove from Los Angeles all the way here, right? And what are you doing in Canada? Oh, I'm meeting a friend. You're meeting a friend. How do you know this friend? From the internet. And how long have you known each other? Oh, about 4 years, but we've never met. Like, I think they asked, like, have you ever met in real life? So at 11 o'clock at that night, they're like, well, give us her phone number. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, are they going to call them? I thought they would be asleep. And I give the phone number, but I'm like, if I don't give them the phone number, they're definitely going to arrest me or whatever. They totally searched my car. They actually called Shari and to warn her that some weirdo is going to come and murder her in her sleep.
And then I'm like, wait, why are they? Should I really let Jacob come? No.
Oh, no. I sleep in my car in the most beautiful places in the world, not just gas stations. Are you kidding? There's some really beautiful spots. And if you're sleeping in your car, you can just go anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice, Marcus. I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, this is not a eulogy, folks. So it's starting to feel like a eulogy. Actually, Jeremy told me that eulogy, what did he say it meant? You means good. Logos. Good logos. So maybe it is a eulogy. I don't know. But yeah. I can drop another link if anybody who's just arrived didn't see the links. If anyone wants to jump in, it's an ask me anything, and I'll decide if I'm going to tell you. And yeah, I'm just leaving the Grail Country channel. I'm not leaving the TLC or the Peterson Sphere. or whatever it is.
I'm so glad I had caught you earlier today on the voice chat and you had mentioned it, or I would have seen the beginning of this and just started freaking out. What about our book club?
I know. I was really. Oh, here, look. Here it is. Eulogia, praise, good or fine language, blessing from you, well, logia, speaking. Eulogia, legan meant speak well of. Yeah. Cool. You remember when my original, man, you know what? I have to tell a little story about that. I was so nervous. I wrote down copious notes, because I thought if I start talking, I'm going to forget. This is something that most of you don't know, and wouldn't guess probably. But I had a brain injury in 2007, and wasn't diagnosed with it till the end of 2000. Like it happened in wait a minute. Yeah, January 2007, and January 2008, I had the diagnosis. So for the full first year of the brain injury, I had no clue what was happening to me. I was just like, I thought that, hang on a second there. I thought that, well, I didn't know. I just knew that I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't, I'd wanted to say something and words wouldn't come out properly. I'd go grocery shopping. I'd buy 7 of the same thing and forget 10 of the things on my list. I was crying all the time. Like I was a mess. I was just a total mess. And one of the worst problems I had for the longest time was being able to sequence events. I couldn't sequence things very well. So like reading a recipe was almost impossible. It was almost impossible. I could only do it if I covered up the whole page and I just went one line at a time. And then I had to cover the one above it. Because if I saw more than one thing on there, I was lost. And I got lost. I would be driving and I would be lost. I'd be like, where am I? I didn't know where I was in the town. I didn't know why I was in town. I didn't know what I was looking for. So I went through a lot of that. And one of the hardest things for me for a long time was remembering how to say things in a certain order so that they made sense. And that's what I mean when at the beginning of this stream, when I started talking about learning to articulate myself better. I was already prone to it because I'm kind of like a way up in the clouds kind of thinker, but it was just made even more difficult when I had the brain injury. And I went through a long period of time. Like it wasn't until 2013 till I could say that I was recovering. I didn't recover in 2013. I was beginning to recover in 2013. And so I was left with a lot of insecurities about it because I would say stuff and people would look at me and go, and I could just tell, oh, crap. Did that come out right? What did I say? Anyway. So there's a long road there's a lot of, I'm old, I got a lot, like I got a backstory.
You're not that old, Shari.
You want to know how old I am? Do you know how old I am?
I think I do. You're only about like 10 years older than me, I think.
How old are you?
I turn 48 sometime in the next couple of weeks, depending on which calendar you use.
Okay. Well, I'm born in 1962, my friend.
Okay, so you're 15 years older than me.
Yeah. I'll be 63 in September.
That's not that old.
No, I don't think it is at all. Like, I was just mentioning this to someone recently My grandfather died when he was 63, and I thought he was really old at the time. Now I'm like, he was so young. I think that was in the book club. We talked about that. My husband is not Orthodox.
Welly.
Wally. Yeah. My husband is Swiss. He was born into a family of unbelievers, atheists, actually. His father was very antagonistic towards God all his life, right till the dying moment. But as a universalist, I think the joke's on him. And I mean that. And so, but my husband went to the Swiss Reformed Church, which is the state church in Switzerland. Look up Swiss Reformation, one of the most brutal reformations, actually. And we ended up going to an evangelical church in Switzerland. And after a few years of that, we were like, okay, we're done. We're done with church. And because we lived in the wilderness, that was a good excuse not to go to church because there wasn't one near us. And I came to Orthodoxy because of this community. So did Shelley. So did Cassidy. So did many people here, actually. And but of course, you don't just jump in because everybody's in the pool. You have to decide. And I decided to. And so I asked my husband, I said, this is what I'm thinking about, and this is why. And, is that okay with you? Because if it wouldn't have been okay with him, I wouldn't have done it. And he said, absolutely. So I'm Orthodox and he's not. But that's okay. He asked me lots of questions about it and he loves it. But I don't think he would ever go as far as to get baptized. But interestingly enough, there is a place for so-called mixed marriages in Orthodoxy. Mm-hmm. They will marry you in the Orthodox Church. Yeah. Which is another reason I'm Orthodox. I have a mystical laugh. I have Jonathan Pajot recently did a thing on, I watched it. Oh, I don't remember what it was about, but it wasn't like a pleasant subject. And when he started talking about it, he laughed. And then he said, wait, I just have to say, I'm not, did you watch it, Mandy? I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I laugh because, and I think this is what it is for me anyways. I think it's because there's an irony. Like you say the terrible thing, but you just know God's got it all under control, right? So like, how terrible could it be, right? Really. It's not a nervous laugh. Well, I mean, maybe it is at some points, but
I think he even said I thought he said something like he was held up at gunpoint once and he laughed.
yeah.
He liked to explain to people. He's like,
Yeah.
seriously, I just do this. I'm not dismissing like the importance of whatever he's saying.
Yeah. And I actually think that he laughs because you can kill the body, but you can't kill my soul. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you do, Laura? Yeah. Yon God. That's a lot of projection there, my friend. Oh, I laughed.
I remember when I was a kid, we wanted dogs. Like my sister and I both really wanted to have dogs. And my mom was scared to death of dogs.
Mm.
And so my dad would take us to the pound and my mom would laugh. She could not stop laughing because she was so scared of the dogs. And eventually, I mean, I've told this story a bunch of times. Like my dogs totally, completely saved my life, and which for my mom has become like she loves dogs now, and she's not afraid of dogs at all.
Mhm.
And she, you know, so yeah, I can't stop remembering when she was like, she would just laugh because she was so scared.
Yeah. I've seen people do that. You know what? It's interesting. Young children, babies under the age of a year, sometimes a little older than that, they'll laugh and then suddenly they'll cry because fear and laughter and fear, like, they really do go hand in hand. Yeah. I don't know what age, Mandy. You're closer to small kids. What age is it almost guaranteed that they do that?
I feel like 3 and 4-ish, even to 5, my one. She would
Okay.
kind of manic laugh, but then be burst into tears, or vice versa, kind of like a weird combination of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Mike, also drinking and guns don't mix well. Depends on what you're drinking. Water's okay.
Shadow came to say bye.
Shadow. She's so sweet. Oh, look, folks. Jeremy's on it. That's the new channel.
You know, I named her after the Psalm of David. I named her Shadow of Death, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the valley of the shadow of death. That's her valley.
That is great. Okay, Marcus says here, you laugh when you're up at the edge and know you can face what's next. Is that just like me personally or generally speaking? Because that feels really right, actually, to me. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, well, I've got Lives of the Saints. It'll be on Gorel Country tonight, I believe. Leviathan laughs. Oh, nice, Jess. Yes. But he might be laughing last, right? If
And
everyone
despite
assuming
what
his in the end.
despite what Pajot says, God definitely does laugh.
Okay, give us an example.
Of God laughing?
Mhm.
That it says Leviathan ze yatzarta l'sachek. You made this Leviathan in order to play with it, and
Right.
the
Okay.
word schok is playful, like laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
So yeah, it's actually related to Yitzchak, right? He will laugh. The name
Mhm.
Isaac, Yitzchak, means he will laugh. Yeah.
I had a professor that was Orthodox. He taught history of Christianity, and he said some of the reason that the Orthodox Church taught that God doesn't laugh or that Christ never laughed was just because at the time, in the early church, there was so much. It was a clue that a text was Gnostic if Jesus was cackling all the time, and that was how you could kind of tell and differentiate or whatever. But I agree that it's strange to say that God doesn't laugh.
Eugene, absolutely, we're finishing on fairy stories. So I forgot to mention that. Sorry about that. No, because I asked Nate to join us on fairy stories, so I'm hoping he has the time to do that, and we will continue until we're finished on fairy stories for sure on Grail Country. Yeah.
Yeah, and Laura just Yitzchak, yeah. Yoshev b'shamayim Yitzchak, he who sits in the heavens. Again, it's the same word, schok, right? To to laugh, scoff, make fun of. Yeah.
Mhm. Jeremy Upcycle says maybe it would be a good idea to set up a Ko-Fi account for the Restoring Meaning channel. There you go.
You can
Justin
make
Shari.
so much money.
Yeah. We have a great, Jess and I did a whole series on the Book of Job. It's really good. Lots of input from Joseph, actually.
That's why I started doing Job. Like, I need to get back to doing Job. I was doing Job with a particular commentary. I think I'm on chapter 9 or 10. But I don't know if people aren't that interested. I thought at least Jess would be interested, but yeah. No, Job is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Definitely in the top 24 of the books of the Bible.
Well, I never read the book that you studied with folks here on in the corner, but wasn't it called Halakhic Man?
Oh, Halachic Man. Yeah, that's one of the we had a book club. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's what Job is.
So I mean, yes, very much so. But if you haven't read the book, how do you know?
Because I just know these things.
Apparently you do. Apparently you do. I don't know. I think that book's way too cerebral. Like I don't think you would like it. Yeah, I've been with everything going on with Israel and Iran. I've been
It's getting pretty close to home there for you, Jacob.
yeah, like
Couldn't be closer.
I have families on both sides of the missiles. But and that's funny, Clara. What was it? Oh, so there's this book, and it's a satire that was written in the early 70s, and it was turned into a television miniseries called My Uncle Napoleon. And it's just a story, and because it's narrative, it teaches you things that it's impossible to describe about Iranian society.
Yeah.
And I've started like yearning for similar stories to describe things that I think we've just spent too much time thinking propositionally about.
The spirit is moving, my friend. That's what I'm doing. That's really the impetus for all of this. I'm just like you started out with that McGilchrist thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's better ways to talk about these things.
It's hard because a lot of it isn't talking about the things. Like, actually, I mean, you're really far away, although your property is so beautiful. But like the fact that we're having a communal birthday party on Saturday because so many of us were born in June.
Okay.
Like we're having like, and there's an estuary tonight, you know? So like the Los Angeles crew has become a thing, and maybe I just need to get off the internet. Because real life is real life, and that was always the point here.
Yeah.
That's one of the things PBK always said. It's something I always said. Something you were always very into is just like, yeah, coming and seeing that meadow where your daughter got married and is now a lake.
Yeah.
Like, that's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yosef's like, don't don't worry, Yosef. I'm too hooked on the internet to Although I have considered just handing my Discord, I seriously consider just handing my Discord and channel over to Fezzi and being like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. It's your
Well,
problem.
Can we say this, Jacob? Because
Yeah.
you're Jewish.
I am.
You could take a sabbatical.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Do that.
Maybe I should.
Just a little one though, because we love you. And life is just boring without you.
Clara, why wouldn't you be able to read? I don't know what's going on.
What's this? Oh.
Do you not have a role?
Yeah, we all need desert moments. Yeah. Well, that's why in the essay I said, how did I put it? I don't remember. What did I say? Let's see here.
It should be.
I had gone in. I had gone in and come out. I had come out and gone in. And then George MacDonald has this great quote where he says, where did I put that now? I think I know where these things are. The strange thing to you, he went on thoughtfully, will be that the more doors you go out of, the farther you get in. So that's what we do. A friend of mine was reading the Philokalia, and he noticed something, and he's not an Orthodox Christian. So I told him, I said, listen, it's hardcore, okay? This is like for monastics. This is hardcore stuff. And he was going through a difficult time in his life, and anyway, he started reading it, and he said, it's so interesting because they'll be like, you have to go in your cell, you got to pray, you got to lock the door and fast and don't eat, and all this stuff. And then, all right, what are you doing in your cell? Get out, get in the garden, go, And he just noticed this going in and going out stuff. And I thought to myself, well, isn't that what life is like? We go in to places and we go out of them. We go into other places and we go out of them. And sometimes we go back, right? That's also what the monastics do, is they go out into the wilderness and then they go back to the community and they bring their wisdom with them. And so there's lots of going in and out. And like I said to Nate, I never say never because I'm being made. So I don't know what's next on the agenda. All I can do is talk about what's happening right now, and this is it. This is what's happening for me right now. I'm going out. So, yeah. But on that note, I should go out of here because I need to go outside. And I also have Lives of the Saints or the Helliand. And that'll be at 6:00 on Grail Country tonight. So hopefully we'll see you all there. And Jacob, I just have to say to everyone here, Jacob has been a form of sustaining for me in this community. He's always been there, and he's always been honest with me. And he's encouraged me when I needed encouragement. He scolded me when I needed scolding.
What have I scolded you?
Oh, sometimes. I don't remember.
Good.
Probably mostly in the beginning. But it was always done with such love. And this is the thing I've always said about you, Jacob. You love. That is the motivation behind everything that you do here in this community. It's because you love. So I just want to encourage everybody to love. Like, that's why I said, remember to love. Because if if you can see somebody loving, then the more that you love someone, the more you can see others doing the same thing. That's how it works. And none of this that we have here in this community will last if that's not happening. That has to be first and foremost. So go back and listen to my essay again. Or a few times.
Or Mark 12. It's all right there.
Where?
Mark 12.
Mark 12?
Yes.
What does it say?
It talks about the greatest commandment, and and it's one of the two places in the Christian Bible that when I read it, I was like, I was shocked, and I was like, it's all here. Why don't the Christians get it?
Yeah.
And it was part of convincing me that like Christians don't do Christianity very well. Not saying I do Judaism much better, but like, yeah, it can be sometimes surprising when the first things aren't first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yawn God's got feels.
We still haven't done we were supposed to do a stream where people came on to congratulate Yon God on getting engaged.
Yeah, we got to do it.
We got to do it. We have to do it.
I wrote a little note here. I said, I will participate in the corner and the Discord, but only to encounter beauty. All right. So if you want me, you got to say beauty 3 times and click your heels together. Anyway, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you all later if you join for the Helliand. If anybody doesn't know what the Helliand is, where do I have my copy? Oh, it's over there. Anyway, it's the Saxon Gospel written 1,000 years ago. It's pretty fantastic. Love you, Jacob. Bye, everybody.